Guys, so today I'm going to talk to you about 3.4 Day 2 Zeros of Polynomial. So sorry I posted a video and then I realized I forgot a piece of it, so I'm going to send you a new one. First thing I'd like you to do is take a moment, pause the video, and try this teamwork on your own with your partners. So if we look at this, it says use the graph of f of x and your knowledge about zeros to determine the equation of f of x. So the first thing I'm going to notice is that I have right here a 0 at -1, at 0, and at 2. So if I have -1, 0, and at 2, but I'm going to look at the shape of my graph. Notice that my graph ends are both ending down. So that means this is going to be an even degree, correct? However, look how many zeros I have. So if you think about what we talked about yesterday, what happened and what did we call that when we saw that this graph hit this thing and turned around? What that actually means is that right here at this 2, technically there are two 2's for zeros. It's the multiplicity of 2. So if I want to set this up as an equation, I can do this in intercept form. So I'm going to have f of x equals, and I'm going to plug in an a value because I need to double check if it's 1 or not. If I see that I have a 0 of 0, that means I needed to have a single x here. If I have a 0 of -1, that means that its factor was x plus 1. And if I have a 0 of 2, and actually I have 2 of them, that means I have the factor x minus 2 squared. So this does match because I have 2 x's here, 3, 4, a degree of 4, and that makes sense. If you think about how we counted turning points yesterday, we have 1, 2, 3 turning points, and so therefore that means we're going up, there's one direction, down, that's 2 directions, up, that's 3, and then down, that's 4, so that matches our degree of 4. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to pick a point on the graph. So I see a nice point right here, which is 1, -4, and this is an x and a y value, so I'll be able to plug this in and solve for my a. So I'm going to plug -4 in for my y, or my f of x, leave my a because that's what I'm solving for, then I plug in a 1 for all of my x's. I'm going to simplify now. And so I have -4 equals a. 1 plus 1 gives me 2. 1 minus 2 gives me -1, and then squared, which gives me +1. So that gives me with a 2a. So my a value is actually going to be -2. So if I want to write out my final equation, it doesn't say standard form, so I can leave it in intercept form. I'm going to have -2x. I'm just replacing the a with a -2 now. And then x plus 1 and x minus 2 squared. There's my final equation. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is just elaborate a little bit more on multiplicity. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm actually going to draw a graph and show you what these are going to look like. So if I just sketch a graph in here, and let's say I have a 0 here and I have a 0 here. Let's say this is an odd degree, and so I'm going to be positive. So I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to cross over, cross to that x-axis. Now right here where you see that this one is bouncing like we talked about yesterday, so this is where we see even multiplicity. Okay, so it's when the graph is approaching that 0 and it hits it and it immediately turns around. That is a bounce of even multiplicity. So for example, if I had x plus 4, okay, squared, because I needed to be even, this would give me a 0 of -4, and there's actually 2 of these, so this is what we'd call a multiplicity of 2. Okay? If you look at the other side, we are crossing through our graph here. This is what an odd multiplicity is going to look like. So it will pass through the x-axis. Okay, just like we think about our odd degree functions, like a linear function crosses through. So for example, for this one, if I had like x, in this case, I could say -5, just one of them, because that would give me a 0 of x equals 5. Well, having 1 0 is an odd degree, so it crosses through. So this would be a multiplicity of 1. Now this could happen on odd multiplicities if I had like x minus 5 cubed or to the fifth, any odd number. Same for any even multiplicity. It could be 2, 4, 6. You would see a bounce on your graph. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. I will see you guys next week. You'll get a worksheet to work on, and we'll go over that on Monday. Have a great weekend.